You don't owe the world an explanation, not for your dreams, not for your silence, and definitely not for the way you choose to evolve. In 2025, your most powerful move won't be noise, it'll be focus. Quiet, disciplined, uncomfortable, relentless focus. We live in a world addicted to attention. People post before they prepare. They speak before they understand. They chase validation like it's oxygen. But here's the truth. If you're constantly explaining your path, it means you're not walking it. Silence is strength, privacy is protection, and your time, that's your power. There is no shortcut to mastery. You want better health, build the habits in silence. You want success, grind when nobody is watching. You want peace, stop engaging with people who thrive off chaos. When you focus on yourself, truly focus, you start to realize how many distractions you've allowed into your life. Silence has long been misunderstood. People often associate it with weakness, shyness, or lack of confidence, but the truth is, silence is one of the most powerful tools a person can possess. In a world where everyone is trying to be the loudest, the one who chooses silence becomes the one who stands out not through volume, but through presence. When you choose not to react, not to explain yourself at every turn, not to get pulled into unnecessary arguments or validations, you are claiming power over your energy and attention. It takes a strong person to remain composed, grounded, and focused while everything around them is noisy and chaotic. Silence doesn't mean you're avoiding life. It means you're prioritizing clarity over chaos. The most secure people don't need to constantly talk about their plans. They don't have to prove what they're doing or explain what's coming next. They move in quiet discipline, staying aligned with their goals, while the rest of the world talks in circles. Silence becomes a filter. It shows you what really matters, who respects your boundaries, and who is only there when you are convenient, visible, or loud. It reveals character, yours and others. When you stop broadcasting every part of your journey, you get a better view of who's watching for the right reasons, and who's only there for the highlight reel. There is also great emotional intelligence in silence. When someone insults you, challenges you, or tries to pull you into their negativity, your silence becomes a shield. You don't feed the drama. You don't validate their insecurity with your attention. You rise above. Silence doesn't say, "I'm afraid." It says, "I don't need this." That self-control is rare. It takes training. It takes vision. And it takes a deep belief in your worth, because when you know who you are, you don't need to explain it. In silence, you create space for deeper focus. You protect your intentions from being diluted by opinions. You stop oversharing with people who don't understand your path, and you reclaim your right to grow in peace. The noise of the world fades when you stop participating in it. You don't react to everything. You don't chase every trend. You become unshakable, focused, dangerous in the best way, because you're not seeking attention. You're building something real. The most powerful transitions in life rarely come with announcements. They happen quietly. In the early mornings, the long nights, the unshared efforts, silence becomes your home, and when the transformation finally reveals itself, it speaks volumes louder than any words ever could. In today's hyper-connected world, the pressure to be seen, heard, and validated is everywhere. Every scroll, every post, every reaction is designed to keep people chasing approval outside of themselves. But that constant need for recognition can be a trap, one that distracts from the real work of growth and self-improvement. When you shift your energy away from external validation and redirect it inward, you begin to uncover a deeper, more authentic sense of purpose. You no longer live for likes, applause, or the opinions of people who don't walk your path. You begin to understand that the only validation you truly need is your own. Real transformation doesn't require an audience. It requires honesty, patience, and self-discipline. That kind of inner work doesn't show up in photos or get celebrated on social media. It's done in silence, in solitude, in the unseen moments where you choose growth over comfort. When you stop seeking approval, You free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of public opinion. You stop allowing compliments to inflate you or criticism to break you. You become centered, driven by your own standards and values, not by the shifting expectations of others. Focusing on personal growth means recognizing that your worth isn't tied to how many people approve of your path. Some people won't understand your decisions. Some will judge you for outgrowing environments they're still stuck in. That's okay. You weren't meant to shrink yourself to fit their understanding. You were meant to rise even if it makes others uncomfortable. The moment you realize your value doesn't depend on being seen is the moment you become unstoppable. Your time and energy are better spent building skills, healing wounds, and developing mental strength than explaining your vision to those who aren't ready to see it. When you work for yourself not in a selfish way, but in a deeply intentional one, everything begins to change. You start respecting your time more. You stop tolerating distractions that pull you off course. You become more selective with your energy and more protective of your peace. That kind of focus breeds results. Not the kind that get instant praise, but the kind that last, the kind that transform your character and prepare you for what you're truly meant to do. There's power in keeping your goals private. There's peace in growing without the pressure to perform. And there's confidence in knowing that you don't need the world's permission to evolve. This is what it means to focus on personal growth. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's real, and in the long run, it's the quiet work that creates the loudest impact. Because when you build from the inside out, nothing external can shake you. Protecting your energy is one of the most essential acts of self-respect, especially in a world where distractions are endless and access to your time is often taken for granted. When you begin to value your inner peace more than temporary approval or meaningless interactions, you start to see the weight that unnecessary noise has placed on your growth. Not every message needs a response. Not every conflict needs your participation, and not every person deserves a seat at your table. Your energy is sacred. How you manage it determines how far you go and how well you move through the world. Distractions don't always look like chaos. Sometimes they show up as people who are always in crisis mode, needing your time but never offering support in return. Sometimes they look like conversations that go in circles, arguments that drain your spirit, or environments that slowly eat away at your focus. It takes real clarity to recognize these patterns and even more courage to step away from them. But once you do, something shifts. You begin to notice how much lighter you feel when you stop investing in things that no longer serve you. The silence that follows isn't empty, it's healing. Energy is not infinite. Every conversation, every task, every decision costs something. If you're always giving to people who take but never pour back, eventually you'll burn out. Protecting your energy means getting comfortable with saying no. It means not explaining your boundaries or apologizing for choosing peace. It means letting go of people who only reach out when they need something, or who thrive on drama and gossip. These things may feel familiar, even comfortable at times, but they rob you of clarity and purpose. When you eliminate the noise, you create space to think clearly, to build intentionally, and to heal deeply. You become more present in your own life rather than constantly reacting to someone else's. You begin to see who truly values you and who only benefits from your lack of boundaries. And more importantly, you start showing up for yourself in ways you always hoped others would. This is not about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming aligned. When you protect your energy, you give yourself the best chance to grow, to thrive, and to become who you were always meant to be. You learn to trust your intuition more, to listen to your inner voice, and to silence the noise of the outside world. You stop trying to fix everything around you and instead begin to master what's within you. In protecting your energy, you choose power over pressure, clarity over chaos, and self-respect over people pleasing. It's not easy, but it's necessary, Because your energy is your foundation, and when that foundation is strong, everything you build on top of it will stand taller, last longer, and feel more like freedom than ever before. There is a quiet kind of strength in choosing to build without broadcasting. In a time when people feel the need to announce every step they take, choosing to move in silence becomes a rare and powerful strategy. When you stop talking about your goals and start executing them behind closed doors, you shift from performance to purpose. You no longer rely on the motivation that comes from external validation. Instead, your drive comes from something deeper, an inner commitment to becoming better, stronger, and more capable than you were yesterday. The decision to build quietly is not about hiding, it's about protecting what matters most. Every dream, every goal, and every vision is vulnerable when it's exposed too early. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the more room you give others to project their doubts, their fears, and their limitations onto you. That noise can plant seeds of hesitation. It can distract you from execution. When you keep your progress private, you preserve your momentum. You don't owe the world a status update every time you take a step forward. What you owe yourself is focus, consistency, and results. There's something deeply empowering about being underestimated. When you build without hype, you catch people off guard, not because you need to surprise them, but because you didn't waste energy trying to prove anything along the way. While others were talking, you were training. While they were watching, you were working. And when your progress finally becomes visible, it won't need explanation. It will be undeniable. The results will speak louder than any announcement ever could. Moving in silence also allows you to stay grounded. When you're not performing for an audience, you're free to make mistakes, to experiment, to change direction without fear of judgment. That freedom is priceless. It gives you the space to grow at your own pace and in your own way. You're no longer boxed in by expectations or tied to a version of yourself that others have projected onto you. You're allowed to evolve, messy, raw, and real. The truth is, success rarely comes from a single moment. It's a series of quiet wins, consistent habits, early mornings, and late nights. It's built in silence and revealed in time. There is no need to prove your worth every step of the way. When your vision is real and your work is relentless, it will show. People will notice, not because you told them, but because the impact will be impossible to ignore. Choosing to build quietly is choosing peace over performance. It's choosing to protect your goals rather than parade them. It's choosing depth over noise, and when you finally arrive at the place you've been working toward, you won't need to speak loudly. The life you've built will do all the talking for you. The essence of this speech is a call to reclaim your focus, protect your energy, and embrace the power of silence as you grow. In a world that constantly demands attention and validation, true strength lies in stepping back, tuning out the noise, and tuning into yourself. Growth isn't a performance, it's a process. And in 2025, the real breakthrough won't come from being loud, visible, or constantly explaining your path. It will come from staying committed to your evolution, building in private, and letting your results speak with undeniable clarity. Focus on your journey, honor your discipline, trust your silence, because the most powerful transformation happens when no one is watching.